Is it working? I have. Okay. I think it's working now. There's anybody on? I can't do this every week. I got to figure this out. Anyway. Hello, and welcome to the Sunday session. I'm AC Brown, and thank you for being here. If you can hear me, please put something in the chat. I would really, really appreciate that if you can hear me. Because I'm having technical difficulties. But anyway, happy Sunday. Let us pray that everything stays intact and there's no issues or problems. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So people can hear me. Yes, people can hear me. All of that. Okay. Hey, Kimmy. Oh my God. Hi, Kimmy. All right. So Instagram's here. If you're joining on YouTube, it's streaming on YouTube as well. Anywho, well, welcome to the Sunday session. I'll be here every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will have a workshop on something, and we will talk about the upcoming week's astrology transit. So, hello. So, this week, first and foremost, I just want to send my prayers and energy. I lit a few candles for everyone out in LA. It's very, very heartbreaking. I know a few people out there, and it's just really sad, and it's really heartbreaking that people are going through what they're going through. Losing your home is rough. Being displaced from your home without your doing is probably really hard. And I'm just praying that all of those people, they can heal from this and get back whole. So, hello. Happy Sunday. So today, what we are going to be talking about today is, are you holding on to pain that isn't yours? So first things first, though, however, before we get into that, we're going to also jump into the full moon in Cancer, which is tomorrow. And that's going to be a very, very interesting full moon. You're going to feel a lot tired tomorrow. So if you feel tired tonight, tomorrow, just remember that that's on purpose. The full moon in Cancer is very much so, it's hard. But anyway, what do I mean by it's hard? And if I'm looking down at my notes. I'm not ignoring anyone. So when we think about, are you holding on to anything? And also the full moon in Cancer, I'm going to tie that together. So when we think about ancestral patterns and emotional baggage that we have, or that is brought onto us, that's possibly weighing us down, we're going to kind of uncover the pain that doesn't belong to us and learn how to release it with love. So if you have your pen and your piece of paper, definitely do all of that. So it's not easy to look at family patterns. It's not easy to look at emotional baggage. It's actually really hard to do so. And when you make those steps to do it, you are unraveling so many things. You are unraveling so many ideas that you have about yourself or that have been brought on to you. And when you start your healing process, that's actually where the hard part is, because I always talk about this. I understand why people don't want to heal. And the reason why they don't is because you have to unravel everything that you've ever known, or everything that has been taught to you or that has been placed on you. And that can be very uncomfortable. And that baggage can be what is holding you back. So when we think about that baggage and releasing those wounds, we begin to heal ourselves and our lineage. So some of us came into this world as rule breakers And we're doing things very differently than our parents and our grandparents by going to therapy, having coaches, doing somatic practices, moving away from religion more into spirituality, really connecting yourself and you being the conduit from you to spirit, to source, to God, whatever you want to believe, or whoever you believe in. And when you do that, you shake the table of your lineage, just period, because a lot of the things that we associate with are not our own. It is things that have been taught to us. So with tomorrow's full moon in Cancer, it kind of invites you to dig deep into your emotional roots, bringing to the surface any ancestral or family dynamics that need healing. So it's going to be a very powerful time for you to release stuff and for you to heal stuff. And then yesterday, of course, yes, the North Node and the South Node moved. So you got that happening. And then you have the full moon in Cancer tomorrow. That's a lot of energy. Cancer, I like to say, when you think about the water signs, I want to say that Scorpio is the depth of the ocean. Pisces is more of the ethereal, you're swimming with the fishes, you're swimming with the dolphins kind of energy. And then Cancer is out on the beach looking at all of the things. So that's how I like to say it. So when we think about the full moon in Cancer, it is looking at the stuff that's happening in the ocean from afar. And so with these nodes transiting to the North Node is going to be in Pisces, the South Node is going to be in Virgo. And we have, I think, 3 or 4 eclipses this year. That's going to shake things up and is going to put you on the path of where you're supposed to go, where your soul's headed, where you're headed, whatever the case may be. But anyway, let's talk about how to uncover those emotional burdens, but actively release them to kind of free yourself of the patterns that are not yours, especially during this full moon in Cancer time. So when we think about the full moon and its energetic impact, full moons are times of a culmination of release. It brings to light what may have been hidden in the shadows. So many of you may find out some information that you were unaware of over the next, I would say, week and a half. So some things may come to light. The energy of Cancer is very deep and very emotional. It is intuitive. It is connected to home, to family, and to ancestral roots. So the full moon in Cancer, it happens tomorrow at 5:25 Eastern time. And it marks also the halfway point of Mars retrograde. And this is going to feel like a release for some, depending on where Cancer is at in your house. And for some, it's going to feel like it's doubling down. It's doubling down on some things. So when we think about the full moon in Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it governs our emotions, our memories, our sense of security. The full moon highlights emotional ties to family, to home, and to ancestry. So the full moon in Cancer invites you to release any family dynamics that are emotionally charged and tied to past generations. So how the full moon in Cancer kind of supports release. So when we think about Cancer, like I said, the Cancer is on the beach while Pisces is in the ocean swimming, being ethereal, and Scorpio is the depths, right? So when we think about Cancer and think about releasing and Cancer being nurturing, protecting, healing, it's a perfect energy for addressing any unresolved family wounds or inherited emotional patterns. So I want you to think about anything that's been bubbling up with your family. And when we talk about family too, we need to redefine the definition of family, because family is not always blood. Many of us, I would say millennials, and some Gen Xers, and then of course the Gen Zs, Family is a little bit different for us. We have evolved and we have become more self-aware to know that family doesn't just mean blood. However, wherever there is family, there might be conflict, there might be pain. So the full moon kind of creates a potent space for letting go of any pain that may have been passed down through the lineage, especially when those emotions are no longer serving us. So the full moon asks us to surrender to the cleansing process and trust that we are capable of healing. Trust that we are capable to deal with our deep-seated or deep-rooted emotional issues. So if anything does come up over the next week or so that is triggering you emotionally, triggering your nervous system, please don't push it to the side. And some other things that may come up with Cancer is nurturing, safety, security, whether you feel that or not, within your relationships, within your home, within your job, within the things that you do. And then with it kind of cross-pollinating with the beginning of the node shifting, I want you to really take the time and not bypass any emotions that you may be feeling or that may be happening for you, because that's going to make you feel as though it's just going to come back up. And with everything that we have going on for the year, it's a 9-year, and 9 is about completion. It's also about 9 is about completion. It's also about dreams coming true. It is endings and not bad endings, or it's a lot of clarity. That's what the 9-year brings. So with that being said, this is the first full moon that for the year where you are allowed to release. You are allowed to come into this energy of releasing something. So allow this full moon to help you release and to help you get rid of anything that's kind of pushing you away. So when we think about emotional baggage, what is the inherited emotional baggage? So inherited emotional baggage refers to any unresolved trauma, emotional patterns, and behaviors that are passed down from your ancestors or family members. So these patterns often influence your actions and your relationships. Oh God, it's acting up again. Lord, no. All right, I think I know how to fix it. Okay, hold please. All right. Child, this is terrible. This is terrible. Okay, it's still live. I have to do all of these things to get it back to working. So hopefully you all can see me and it's back on. Excuse that little. I don't know if it's a plug that is connected to my MacBook Air or the camera that is, I plug it in really tight, and then something happens with the camera, and then it switches cameras and it goes to this horrible ass camera on my laptop. I don't know. Anywho, we're back. Here we are. I hate that this happens and that it freezes. So if it freezes again, here we are. Anywho, so when we think about inherited pain and emotional trauma, I want us to really think about how these patterns influence our thoughts, our actions, and our relationships, and how we handle life's challenges. So these inherited energies can affect our mental and emotional well-being without even realizing it. So they may be patterns of fear, of shame, of guilt, or of abandonment that feel like they've always been a part of us, but they've actually been things that have been passed down to us, and that is not the case always. So how does emotional How does emotional dynamics often set the tone for how we view the world? I don't know. Did it pause? Somebody let me know if it paused again. I can't. Why is this happening? I don't know why this is happening. This is wild and crazy. Jesus Christ. It paused. Thank you. Okay, but you can hear me, but it paused. Okay. 1 second. It paused, but we can hear you. Thank you, Kimmy. Okay, so you're still listening. So I'm going to still talk and try and get the camera to be back working. So I will do that. So, how ancestral and family dynamics shape us. So family dynamics often set the tone for how we view the world, ourselves, and our relationships. These patterns can be any beliefs, whether it's about money, whether it's about love, whether it's about success, or even just things passed down from generations to generation. So we may inherit behaviors like emotional avoidance, or we might inherit overgiving or carrying excessive responsibilities that come from ingrained things that are not ours. So even if we've never directly experienced these things, they can still affect us, okay? So when we think about them affecting us and we are trying to release them, it's really important that you understand the signs that you are carrying emotional baggage. So what are some of the signs that you are carrying emotional baggage? Some of the signs that you're carrying emotional baggage, which would be number one, you're experiencing the same emotional struggles and challenges over and over again. So even though they don't seem to stem from your own personal experience, for example, feeling an unexplained sense of guilt or shame about things that don't align with your own actions. This usually shows up more with money than anything. And somebody said, now the camera does a 360. Good. I'm glad you can see me now, because I don't know what was going on. It's so weird. I can't deal with it. Anywho, so a lot of the time, shame from inherited baggage usually comes in the form of money, jobs, or having something better than maybe your parents, maybe your siblings, maybe your grandparents, and having that shame. And then there's also behavioral patterns that don't align with your truth. So engaging in self-destructive, or sabotaging behaviors that don't make sense in the context of your own life, but seem to repeat from one generation to the next. So an example of that would be fear of failure or perfectionism inherited from a parent or grandparent who also struggled with these issues. I also noticed that too with people trying to dodge pregnancy or going to college, those type of things, or everybody in your family has had teen pregnancy, or everybody in your family's been to prison, or everybody in your family got married young. So trying to not get caught up in those things, which can be really challenging when everybody's done that and you are the person who's breaking that cycle. So when we think about some other ways that you are carrying emotional baggage, is also difficulty breaking free from family roles. So feeling like you're playing out a specific role in your family, such as the peacemaker, the overachiever, the caregiver, or even those roles that you don't feel like it serves your true self. So examples would be you're the one that takes care of everyone, that oldest daughter or only daughter kind of thing, even at the expense of your own well-being. or the youngest person in the family is always so irresponsible, or something like that. And then you also have unexplained emotional blocks or fears. So fears, phobias, emotional blocks that don't have a clear origin in your own life, and it seems that they are passed down from generation. So you might have a fear of success or a fear of being abandoned. Those are some things that are put onto you. And somebody said, yes, facts, I broke through mine. Fears, I would say, are probably the biggest thing to overcome when you have inherited emotional baggage. And that is because that's all you know and that's all you've seen. That's why I am a big advocate for children leaving hometown. Like, I am a huge advocate for children, for people leaving your own town. Do not, if you can't help it, go to college in the same state that you grew up with. Try to leave. As soon as you go to, finish college, move, get as far away from your family and friends that you've known for so long, because that's where you develop your own sense of self. So I know everybody can be familiar with the people who stayed around in your neighborhood in college. They're doing the same things. They're not really doing anything that, and let me rephrase, they have chosen that life, so they're very happy with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But the energetics are the same. They did what their parents did. They are still like kind of the same people that they were in their formative years. And I truly believe that's because they never moved. When you don't move away, when you don't take the time to really get to know yourself, you get stuck in a lot of these inherited familiar behaviors that have been passed on to you. So it's really important for you to try not to stay in the same places, for you to move on and create a new life for yourself. And so if you don't do that, or if you have a lot of inherited emotional baggage, how it manifests in your life is a few ways. Intergenerational trauma. So epigenetics, things transferring down from one person to the next. Family trauma doesn't always have to be physical as well. It can be emotional, it can be psychological, it can also be spiritual in nature. Also, you can sometimes have an emotional imprint on your relationship. So anytime that you have inherited emotional baggage, it often, most likely, if you don't go on a healing journey, it will play out in your romantic relationships and in your friendships, and even in the workspace. That's probably, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would say if you've never started your healing journey, never try to become more self-aware, you will figure that out when you are at work. I think it shows up a lot more in the workspace anywhere, and then it probably will show up in your romantic relationships. I think the friendship part is last, but it affects your relationships when you have all of this emotional baggage that's not even yours. So how you break the cycle, so you're not doomed to repeat the cycles of your ancestors, of your family. You have the power to kind of heal and transform that. So I want everybody to take a moment, whoever's here, and just pause and think about the emotions that you currently have, and take a deep breath. Just breathe in and out and feel yourself kind of becoming present in this moment and releasing any distractions, and allow your heart kind of to soften for a second. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine yourself standing at the center of your family lineage. So I want everybody to do that. So if you're watching, if you're listening, just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Take a nice deep breath and just kind of listen. Take a nice deep breath. And then I want you to imagine yourself standing at the center of your family lineage. Behind you, you may seem or see or feel different generations of your ancestors stretching back, like far, far back, just tons of people. You've never met them, you don't know them, they may look like you, they may not look like you. And I want you to think about how these ancestors have carried pain and suffering, but they also have a lot of wisdom and strength, right? So I want you to also visualize a healing light flowing from your heart, sending waves of compassion and forgiveness backwards through time, that you are the catalyst for change, of healing, of growth. And as this light kind of washes over you and washes over them, I want you to think about the burdens of pain, shame, guilt, or fear of being lifted, like it's all being lifted from your energy, your lineage, from your ancestors. And I want you to see all of these burdens kind of dissolving and being replaced by love and understanding and compassion. And I just want you to take a moment and just allow this healing to flow all the way back through your family line. So clearing any emotional baggage that doesn't belong to you. Feel the freedom and lightness as you release these generational wounds. And I want to give you just an affirmation for you to say as you're opening your eyes, and just say, I forgive my ancestors for carrying pain that wasn't theirs to carry. I forgive myself for holding on to pain that isn't mine, and I release what no longer serves me and create space for healing and for love. So those are some ways that you can do that. And we'll talk about something that I think is really important, that is really important when we're thinking about our family lineage. Did anybody do the exercise? Did anybody do a little quick meditation? If you didn't, it's fine. You can always go back and watch if you did it. If you didn't do it, it's totally fine. Totally fine. If you did, yay. If you didn't, it's okay. So I want to talk about something else. And if you all have any questions, put them in the comments, please. If you have any questions about what we're talking about, don't hesitate to put it in the comments and ask if you're confused about anything. So I also want us to talk about writing a letter of forgiveness to an ancestor or family member or friend and burning it under the full moon tomorrow. So this full moon, like I said, is a powerful time to release old wounds, and the act of writing and burning it symbolizes sort of a act of surrendering the emotional weight of our ancestral pain, of anything that's kind of burdening you. So by doing this, you're freeing yourself and your lineage from carrying these burdens. So what I want you to do, and you don't have to do this now, but you can do this tomorrow. Okay, people did it. Okay, yay. I'm looking at the comments. Okay, great. Oh, good, it brought some emotions, yay. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. You can write it tonight or you can write it tomorrow. This is what I want you to do. Very important. So I want you to write a letter of forgiveness to either your ancestral line or a family member who may have unconsciously passed down some type of emotional pain. So this is a really great time to release any judgment, resentment, and anger. So I want to encourage you to go into this letter with an open heart, with energy of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean you have to be friends or in community with people. It just means that you have forgiven them for their actions. But if they don't change, that doesn't mean that you have to still be in community with them. So writing this letter with an open heart, with an energy of forgiveness, whether it's a friend, a family member, your ancestral line, something that's just been plaguing you for a while. And so as you begin writing that letter to your ancestors, your family member, whoever has contributed to the emotional pain that you are carrying, I want you to acknowledge their humanity, which is hard because sometimes it's not that easy. say that. Yeah, I think the problem is with acknowledging someone's humanity when they haven't acknowledged yours. So that hurts, because it's like, can it be someone who's deceased already? Yes, it can be someone who's deceased. Older daughter for sure. It can be someone who is deceased already. Yes, it can be someone who's deceased. So I want you to pick that person, open heart, open mind. I want you to acknowledge their humanity and the struggles they've faced. I want you to express your forgiveness for any pain they may have unknowingly passed down to you. And this pain can be anything. So, and here's some prompts to kind of guide you. What did you inherit from them emotionally? Like, how do you handle your emotions? Are you angry because your dad was angry? Like those type of things. How has their pain affected your life? And how can you release the pain and forgive them? So, or even down to if it's been abuse or trauma that you may have experienced from this family member or the situation, or even like, how can I put this? Like, it can be anything. It can be the fact that no one's gone to college and you really want to go to college, or that they, you know, would say stuff, oh, you think you're better than us because you went to college, stuff like that. Write down those things that may have hindered you or have brought you any pain. And that's what you're going to write on the letter. So once you write the letter, I want you to safely burn it. But I don't know what your homes look like. So I'm not responsible. I want you to safely burn it as an act of release. So as the letter burns, I want you to visualize the pain, the resentment, and the emotional baggage dissolving into the air. So feel yourself being freed from these wounds, and just say a nice affirmation like, I release the pain that was never mine. I forgive myself. I forgive my family. I forgive my ancestors. I choose healing. I choose love. I choose peace. And this is the perfect full moon to do it, just for the simple fact that the full moon in Cancer is here. And then we had those nodes shift as well. I'll say this, I know it feels very uncertain, and it feels we're only, 12 days in, and the world is falling apart. I'm going to be honest with you all. I was feeling very on edge. So my energy in my body, right? I feel a lot of collective energy, and I was feeling something big happening. I couldn't put my finger on it, of course. Then we had the LA fires. And so I'm feeling a lot at ease, but I also feel some tension brewing in the air. I don't know what it might be. January, I will say, is going to be a big month of transition. What we have, 3 weeks left into this month. I don't want it to go by fast. I do want it to slow down a little bit. And I advise you all, as it continues to possibly feel slow, for you to allow yourself to feel all the feelings. So if you are tired, be tired. If you're angry, be angry. If you're confused, be confused. Feel all the feelings and allow it to kind of get through your body. If you're feeling joy, be joyful, whatever it is. And the reason why I say that is because this year is going to be interesting. I'll probably talk about this as, every Sunday as we move through these transits, but we have some big things kind of shifting. Like I said, the nodes from that Pisces North node to Virgo South node. I don't even know what the hell that's. Listen, I'm nervous about that. Pisces is in my 4th house. Virgo's in my 10th house of career. I have no idea. No clue. And then, of course, Pluto is in Aquarius. We have a lot of other big, major transits that are going to affect us. There's going to be 3 eclipses. I think 3 or 4. I don't have the exact amount. But how the eclipses work and how I've experienced